How's it going, guys? Today I have a build a lot of you may not have expected. I feel this puts Arc Warlock in a place that's still not absolute endgame, but instead a build that makes Arc Warlock almost advertise exactly as it's supposed to be. A fast, fun Palpatine cosplay. This build is going to generate your abilities almost instantly and provide insane ad clear in many activities. Without further ado, let's get into the build. First, we're going to go into Arc, and I have Chaos Reach on. It's up to you. Both these supers aren't like crazy, but I think Chaos Reach is better, so I'm putting this on. Same thing with the class ability, that's up to you, but I like to run Healing Rift because I just think it fits my playstyle better, and it gets me out of a lot of bad situations if I need to pop it, but that's up to you. For the melee, run Chain Lightning because it has a better cooldown, and I think it's better than Ball Lightning, but that's up to you if you want to use the extra 20 seconds just so you run Ball Lightning, but the melee that we're going to use on one of our aspects takes over anyways, so this is a smaller cooldown, and I like to use this instead. The grenade's up to you. I would recommend between Flashbang Grenade and Pulse Grenade. Flashbang's going to stun enemies, but other than that, Pulse Grenade's where you can get that damage and take out a lot of champions and other stuff with the help of this, so I like to run this. The aspects, I have Lightning Surge. When you slide, you're going to get that charge melee that blinks you forward, and it's going to jolt targets as well. This is going to go really nicely with a lot of things in this build that I'll touch on, so I like to run this, especially since we're going to get it back all the time. I'd say it's the best melee if you don't really care about these two, so put this on. For our second aspect, I have Electrostatic Mind. Defeating targets with arc abilities or defeating jolted or blinded targets creates an Ionic Trace. Collecting an Ionic Trace makes you amplified. This is the part of the build I'd say that brings it all together other than the exotic, so definitely be running this. For our fragments, I have Spark of Amplitude. When we defeat targets while amplified, we're going to get Orbs of Power. This is going to pair nicely with everything. Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an Ionic Trace. This is going to pair with our exotic weapon and just all of our abilities, so this is perfect. While you're amplified, your arc special weapon Final Blows create a blinding explosion. With our exotic weapon Delicate Tomb, or whatever you end up using, which I probably recommend Delicate Tomb, this is going to just give it a boost overall what it already has and make it even better, so I like to run this. And finally, for the last fragment, I have Spark of Shock. Your arc grenades jolt targets, so this is going to make our melee, our grenade, and our weapons jolt everything, and jolting is going to give us Ionic Traces, and that goes back to our Fallen Sunstar, and it's just everything is going to pair nicely. We're going to get our abilities back all the time, be jolting targets, it's just going to work out perfectly. All the weapons don't matter except for the middle slot. I definitely recommend Delicate Tomb. You're going to have a chance to generate Ionic Traces when we're taking out enemies. Powerful foes and opposing guardians will always generate Ionic Traces. When our weapon jolts though, you're always going to get an Ionic Trace because of our fragment we have on. And also when we get an Ionic Trace, weapon is going to jolt targets anyways. So you're going to be guaranteed to get Ionic Traces at some point with this weapon. Finally, for the armor, our exotic is Fallen Sunstar. This exotic is going to make our Ionic Traces move faster. We're going to get a lot more energy from them, and also it's going to benefit our teammates as well. They're going to get energy too. And with everything I just talked about in the subclass and with the exotic weapon, this is all going to pair beautifully. As you see in the footage, you get your melee back almost instantly sometimes. So I just think this is a beautiful build that makes Arc Warlock shine. So this exotic is perfect for this. On the helmet itself, I'm running Ashes to Assets, Arc Siphon, and Hands-On. Get super energy from all of our abilities, and our arc weapons are going to generate some Orbs of Power, which is going to go nicely with our armor charges, and I'll touch on that in a second. On our gauntlets, starting with our armor charge stuff, we have the melee kickstarts, which are going to give us our melee back all the time. I like to use this more than the grenade, but the grenades are also great. But I recommend running melee kickstart so we can do that jolt attack where we teleport forward all the time. And I also have heavy-handed on, so we can get an extra orb of power whenever we do that as well. On our chest armor, I'm running 2 resistances and a charged up. That's up to you. You can either run 3 of those or you can just run the charged up, but I just have the charged up on so I can get my melee kickstart to give me even more energy. On the leg armor, I have it stacks on stacks, so when we're picking up those orbs, we're gonna get an extra armor charge, which is gonna go nicely with getting our melee kickstart to go. And I have 2 invigorations on, so whenever we pick up orbs of power, I'm gonna get a lot of melee energy back, so we can just basically at some point spam it like all the time. Finally on the bond, I have 2 bombers. I like to get a little love to our pulse grenades, so I just threw that on. And I have Reaper on, so when we pop our class ability, we're going to generate an extra orb, which is nice if we want some more melee energy. So I have that on, and that's also going to work with the armor charges. If you guys found this build helpful and makes Arc Warlock look a little more pleasing, make sure to leave a like, and if you're new, consider subscribing. But other than that, I'll talk to you guys in the next one.